change. Where were you when we were getting high? Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you when we were getting high? 'Cause someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide. Ooh, y'all didn't know. See, I thought about being a musical artist, brother. I had thought about that, but then I decided to code instead, brother. You know, less hoes, you know what I'm saying? No, not really. Hey, guys, how are you doing? How you doing? Good, good, good. You might notice an extreme jump in quality of the image I'm shooting out. It's probably. Hey, what's going on here? Shrink that bad boy just a little bit. It's hard to see the imperfections until you go live. Anyhow, yeah, I hope y'all dig it. But man, you know, natural light plus a good camera, beautiful. I think that the issue with the webcam, like, or one of the things that I've learned that is not, no, I guess it is. It takes time. I don't know how people come across this information necessarily, but you know, it's not so much about the resolution of the camera, but rather the sensor, like how much data is it picking up in the image itself. Of course, the type of camera matters, but in terms of like getting a good green screen, you want as little noise as possible. And you can't really, I mean, it can kind of help if you do noise reduction via software, but if your software is having to reduce the noise and then apply the transparency over it at the same time, it's working really hard, brother, just to get the same thing that, you know, you could have put that money into a better camera. But whatever, what am I saying? Okay, so guys, check this out. Let me do the intro real quick for the uninitiated. That way you know what's cracking, okay? So the gist of this stream, yo soy Nico. Yeah, I go by many names. You can just call me Enor. Call me Oat. Okay? Or Consuelo is cool too. Or Nico's fine. Now, that being said, this is a learn along, true to its namesake. So you're not watching somebody that is teaching you, but rather you're watching somebody that is going through their raw learning process in real time. So everything that I've done in terms of learning Swift and SwiftUI, I've done on the stream. And so to that point, you can go to this YouTube channel right now. Okay. Nico X Narration. That's a YouTube channel. If you want to get caught up, all of these initial 46 episodes that we did for Swift proper are recorded there in sequence. So while you'll have to suffer through my occasional rambling, or some might say frequent rambling, everything is in order in terms of going through the book. So what we do here is normally it involves a purchase, but not from you guys. So, you know, relax, chill out. But I'll go find a course or a piece of material, whatever, that I think will be helpful. And then I just step through it in real time. That's basically it. But my point is that don't expect a ton of interaction. This is, and it's catching on. I'm getting some followers. So, I think it's resonating with people. But really my whole idea behind this was that I just thought it would be a neat way to keep myself accountable, to continue to come back to learn this stuff. Because my real goal, this is just a little bit about me, but for 10 years or so, I worked for a service company. We had, I started as a sales dude. I didn't know shit about software. I thought I did. I didn't. Started as a sales guy and then eventually ended up being, their DevOps engineer and the full gambit in between, product manager. I went on projects. I was implementing, doing product training, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, along the way, I wrote and learned to love and became an expert at SQL. And so that's really where I cut my teeth. And obviously got exposed to a lot of the data side of things. So I've always loved that. And that's where like SQL really taught me, like, damn, like if you just know one thing really well, you can go pretty far. Which that might be a bit of a overclassification or overgeneralization, but with SQL, that's very true because SQL is effectively ubiquitous. So, I mean, irregardless of what programming language you use, you can bet that the database that it's talking to uses SQL. And so, it's one of those skills, kind of like JavaScript. It just, you're gonna encounter it. You might as well get really good at it. Anyway, so I did, and I learned a lot. And having parted ways now with the company, starting my new job this coming Monday, matter of fact. But anyway, I came away from that having learned a ton of things about different problems in the ERP space, because we were a reseller of an ERP, which is stuff like Oracle or AccountMate or SAP, stuff like that, Microsoft Dynamics, And in our space in particular, most of the customers were food manufacturers and food distributors, which are beholden to, if you're not familiar with FSMA, it was passed in 2008 by President Obama. And it stands for Food Safety Modernization Act. And effectively, it spawned this whole sub-economy. It really created, were it not for that law, my career would be very different. So it's always interesting how that kind of propagates out. But it created a real burden on food manufacturers and distributors, because now they had to have traceability in their software. So every lot that they receive, when they purchase ingredients, everything is identified by a lot number. And when they use that in their facility to make, hot sauce or pickles or whatever the fuck they're making, they have to be able to, via the software, track everywhere that ingredient went down to the lot number. So, a single shipment of salt, let's say, might have 50 lots on it, and that might go into, 2,000 different products, and they have to be able to track it. Anyway, that's what our software did. And so, but it's far from a solved issue. The traceability part actually isn't all that, there's optimizations, definitely things we could have done better, but that's not really the hard part. Relational databases are pretty well built for that. The hard part is more the MRP side, material resource planning, the purchasing at the right time, to be cost effective, but also sometimes you just have straight up capacity constraints. So the idea of what I want to build here, and the reason I wanted to learn Swift, is because I did my research on it. I looked at a ton of languages, OCaml and Golang and Odin, and I still want to learn Odin. Odin is cool, but that's too low level for that. But Swift is perfectly equipped, and I think what you'll find if you go back through these 46 episodes, anybody that's really serious about wanting to build, like maybe, I started a company, this MRP Panda is going to be the product, right? So it's not going to be open source. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But I figure I am still giving back by way of, doing this. So, anyway, that doesn't fucking matter. The point is that Swift is awesome, and that Swift has proven to be a good choice. So I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to continue. So yeah, if you want to get caught up, just that's the whole point. All right, go get caught up. Nico X Narration on YouTube. You can get caught up. Right now we're doing SwiftUI. After we finish SwiftUI, we're going to build out the web API. I'm going to use GraphQL, and then also the schema for the onboard storage, SQLite. So you get to see what that looks like. Use some cool tools to help us do that, and then after that, it's just going to be an iterative process. So either live programming, building the actual tool, or on the if I hit a wall or something like that, I will fill those days with learning a little bit of C. I don't want to focus too much on that aspect of it because I want to keep it Swift centric, but we'll learn a little bit of C just to be dangerous. I want to be able to read it effectively. And it's not, I've kind of gone halfway through a course already, so you kind of know what you're looking at, but we'll do that. We'll cover that. And then specifically, we will more or less practice on methods of how can we utilize existing C libraries and lots of other libraries. So like Metal, or what's the popular one? Raylib. So we'll just bounce between that. But that's the lay of the land. That's what this stream is going to be about. So it is a means to an end, and one that is not really focused on being like, what's the word? The end all, be all, best, is most entertaining. influencer. I don't even want to. I actually think that word's kind of cringy. I don't like it at all. Yeah, so that's my pledge. Hopefully I don't have to eat these words later, but even if I do, so be it. But I never want to be a full-time, quote unquote, influencer. I think, especially in this space, like with technology, to me, the best part about YouTube and all of these platforms that let people get this free content, the best part about it is that working class people like myself, like my new job, I'm going to be the director of BI for this consulting firm. They have a whole different class of customers, so I'm really excited to see what they're getting into. We're going to build out this whole thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to try to sell it to you guys, whatever. It's not for consumer, it's for businesses. But anyway, everyone's fucking selling something, bro. I'm just selling myself. How about that? I'm just out here selling ass. No, I'm playing. It's seriously annoying though. It's now everyone has a fucking crypto coin or a fucking like, get the fuck out of here. God damn. I already got, in the past 2 days, I probably signed up for 3 new things, which is my fault. But still, I'm bitching about it. Anyway, drop me a follow if you want to see how this unfolds. But yeah, that's effectively it. So this is my cathartic experience lived out on the internet, and also just having fun programming, but also will be eventually a sold product and for businesses. So again, unless you guys have a big ass fucking warehouses of inventory with a staff of 500 and 3 different locations and logistics to handle, you're not my target, so you can relax. But with all that being said, we can get started. Now, yesterday we were way further than this actually. I was showing my lady how you can embed. I didn't know you could do this in PDFs, which is really neat, this whole like video thing. But anyway, try not to get motion sickness. Where is the, I forgot I switched to Apple Books. It's a way better, I'm speaking of nothing other than the UI on the app itself. And the Kindle one, I don't know why how does an app get worse over time? I'm not sure, but it did. This is way better, so that's why I'm switching over. But yeah, not necessarily saying that Apple Books is any less restrictive. We went through this too. So yesterday we looked at here. It was the query. Oh, sorting. Okay, it was sorting. Yeah. Okay, so let me just thumb through this to make sure that I am lucid enough to retain some of this here. Oh, I forgot one thing. So one of the things, like I told you, since I pick courses that I did not produce, this is not my content. This is somebody else's fantastic content that I'm learning from. And the really neat thing, because I was kind of worried about, the whole fair use, like, am I allowed to do that if I buy somebody's? And the answer is maybe. Or really the answer is it depends. But what's really nice about this, just FYI, for the Karens out there that were wondering, Big Mountain Studio, this content is not only fantastic and amazing, they actually encourage, it actually says it right there on the site, so it was absolutely perfect. And it was honestly the only option in terms of what I was looking for. But let me just, this is pertinent information, so don't worry. But part of what they wanted in exchange for using content to make, what am I saying? In exchange for content creators using their content to make their own content on Swift, like I'm doing right now, they just wanted a shout out. That's all they asked. So I think that's awesome. So we're going to do that when we start and when we finish. And I'll tell you right now that, like I told you, this was my only, proverbial, the only option. I say that because, and you guys know, the people that watch this stream, after we finished Swift, which we used, let me show you just real quick here. Big Nerd Ranch. So this is another great site. They don't have the same agreement, so don't go don't go putting their stuff on. Well, wait, I guess I did that too. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so Big Nerd Ranch, they make great books too. This is who we learned Swift from initially. So we used their book, the 7th edition, to learn the ins and outs of Swift. Right, so that's where we started. But Big Mountain Studio, they're the only ones I could find online. I looked at Codeco. I looked at the other guy, Paul something. He's pretty big on YouTube with Swift stuff. None of them had any books other than Big Mountain Studio on a SwiftUI centric and Swift Data, which is the data framework, the successor to Core Data, the Objective-C centric one. This is the only place I could find effectively the modern way of doing things without having to go through and intermingle UI kit and all that bullshit with Objective-C. I just don't see a reason to learn it. So, I mean, if that's something that you need to learn or want to learn, this won't be a good stream for you. I'm strictly focusing on SwiftUI and Swift Data. I have, it's just going to be me and my wife to be programming this thing. So we have no reason and no need, therefore will not be covering, core data or storyboarding in UI kit. There's just no reason to. But anyway, yeah, that's another great thing about Big Mountain. It's the only place I found that had actual, even, digestible material that's up to date for what I need. So thanks, Big Mountain Studio. Now then, yeah, so sorting. So I'm thumbing through this here. And see, these are great. Like, to some extent, you get this kind of visual representation of the code in other books, but none of them have really done it to this degree. And so far, we've not typed a lot of code because they give you this very nice helper project, right? That's effectively the same code as in the slides, but it's already there. So this is more of a backward style learning in terms of, like, here's the code already. Look at the view, which is on the left here, obviously. And then they explain it. Normally, I don't like that, okay? Because all throughout the first 45 episodes when we were learning Swift and Big Nerd Ranch, they encourage you to follow along and literally type the code that's in the book. So you're recreating it and creating muscle memory. So we did that all throughout that 800-page book. And it helped. It does. I think it's important. The only reason I like this approach for SwiftUI is, A, we already learned the language itself, so we can read this and understand it. But two, SwiftUI is not, like, Swift is open source. SwiftUI is not. So we don't get the same benefit of getting to dig into things deeply like we did with Swift. And to that point, I think this is actually more effective only because it's declarative. So once we know the concepts of SwiftUI, it's easy to understand how to use them because they're being applied in the same way every single time. So anyway, if you notice we're not typing very much, that's why. But I actually like this approach for a GUI framework. I think it actually makes more sense when you're talking about visually representing something. Anyway, I digress. So all that being said, query private var parks, let's see, unordered. So, okay, so yeah, we learned that by default they are unordered, which looks like a regular old query. This is all that we've seen to this point, or at least up until yesterday. And so here they're just showing us a regular old, same old thing we've been seeing. So this is nothing new here in this case. And then here we covered, you will learn another method to get, okay, yeah. So using the mock data, I won't cover that because we did that for like 3 days straight. Okay, so now here's our first instance of sorting by accessing a property. So escape characters, same old. Park model is our class. And then dot name. So we're sorting on the name property, and we learned that by default, I think it says it somewhere that, yeah, it's sorted alphabetically, so A to Z. What else is important here or of note? I would say the main thing, if you're seeing this for the first time, when you see this word conforms to, and then like some kind of name, in this case comparable. These are Swift protocols. So I would say, generally speaking, to understand Swift, I would start with protocols, honestly. Because once you understand that, you can really start to understand how a lot of the behaviors get passed around. So it's in a sense, it's convoluted, but at the same time very powerful because it's done so well. So I've yet to, like, I have bitched and boned about how cumbersome, how cumbersome it can feel sometimes, because we've learned, like, between JavaScript, I can't even, that's even worse, so never mind. I shouldn't even have said that. But okay, so after SQL, I wrote Go for about a year and a half, mostly like back-end server-side stuff, ETL jobs, stuff like that. Which I didn't mind it, but it was a little, how do I say, clunky. Now the build tools were awesome, so I always gave it a pass, because I mean, being able to cross compile and how easy Go makes that, I thought was just, I felt like a, superhero. So I mean, having to write a bit more code in a roundabout way wasn't really a big deal. But what has stuck out learning Swift is just the sheer volume of ways you can do things. It's kind of crazy, but it's a good problem to have. Ultimately, I think it's a better trade-off than what Go offers. Although, Go, like I said, I'm not here to shit on Go. I liked it, but I can't imagine wanting to use it again once you understand something like Swift, or even something like Rust or C++, like any language where you can still get to the performance. It just so happens that there's many ways to do something. I think if you, in a vacuum, take a developer that has been exposed to both, they're going to reach for the larger toolbox, just because, like, okay, fine, it's confusing to understand and know when to use what, but once you understand that, what's your argument that having less options is better? Probably not a very good one. So anyway, brother, drop the mic. All right, so what's next? Sort descending. Okay, so this is the same. So if we don't want the default ascending, we can just do order, parameter order, and then this modifier dot reverse. Pretty simple stuff. All right. Let's see, what was, I don't remember. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, sorting multiple properties. So we have to wrap this in an array. Is that different? Query sort. Queries. Okay, it's not different. So still the same parameter, but now, wait, what is different? Oh, okay. So now instead of just the model.property, we're wrapping it in this array, sort descriptor, and then the model property, comma, sort descriptor, rating. Oh, okay. So I guess whatever that is doing, we just got to know we need to wrap it in that array from a syntactic point of view, valid syntax point of view. And just close it out here. Okay. I guess that's a typo, right? Because you get an opening bracket there. Wait, this is closing. What? That can't be right. Let me see. That can't be right. I can't. I guess that's the only downside to these slides. Not the best for copying text, but sort descriptor. Oh wait, this should already be in the code. Yeah. Query underbar. Query underbar. And I already forgot the sorting multiple objects. Not here. But where? Where are you? There you are. Okay. Let's see. Query sort. Here's open path. Oh, that's probably why it got commented out. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what happened, but if we comment that out. Okay, yeah, it's just a simple typo. I just want to make sure that. Well, hell, I don't know. They haven't let us down otherwise, though, so whether it is or isn't doesn't really matter. My OCD just flaring up, brother. All right, so for multiple sorts, you need to switch to an array of sort descriptor objects. So that's really the takeaway here for multiple sorts. So if we're sorting on more than one thing, we use this sort descriptor. Syntax be damned. All right, so then sort descriptor key path options. Previous example, we saw that the full key path is defined. Class.property notation. Oh, so that's what that refers to. Okay, in terms of terminology, full key path. If you define the model type on the query, though, then the sort descriptor can figure out the type the key path properties belong to. Ah, I like that. Yeah. I think I'm going to save that. Control Shift S. Oh, yeah. Why does this happen? Come on, man. macOS is so funky about, like, well, a lot of stuff. I was going to say about how it captures screenshots, but just a bunch of stuff. Anything having to do with Windows, really. I wonder if... Oh, yeah. This is a quick aside, but I forgot I need to... So I was trying to save everything on this board, and it was working fine. I mean, BoardMix is a good app. I'm not shitting on it by any stretch, but I realized... Like, I have the unfortunate... Well, depending on who you ask, it could be viewed as fortunate, but I have the desire to use all the OSs. I just like all of them. And I ended up trying them, and then I ended up using, Linux, Windows, Mac, all for things that I now don't want to give up. So, that's the life I chose. It's the life I chose. Now, get helper. What is this? Ooh. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see, so Qbox is kind of like you might know of this one, like if you've heard of Paper, or no, what's another, like Raindrop is another one, like a bookmarking app, just to capture everything. Anyway, that's the one I was using. There's another one called Pocket, I think. There's more popular ones, but this one takes it like a step further in a sense because you can save anything, like literally any kind of files, anything. But the best part is, wait, where did it put it? Qbox. Where the heck is it going? There it is. Okay. Qbox. Anyway, this one is annotation. Is one of the latest and greatest with a lot of cool features too. Like mainly the things I wanted it for because it'll summarize articles for you. And the thing I didn't like about Raindrop that I like about this is you can leave actual notes assigned to your bookmarks, which I thought was a big thing that was lacking in other places. But so now you got these launch boards basically, so you can save all the stuff that you want to reference, like code snippets and whatnot, and then recall them later and display them on a board, like on a canvas, like in Obsidian or whatever. You can just paste the link to your Qbox and it'll just render the image right there as a link. So now you don't have to copy all the image data and whatnot, to all these different things. View in the Mac App Store. Let me grab this real quick. I already did. Okay. Anyway, that's what the hell all that is about. I think it was $60 for the year for the top tier one, but there's a cheaper one too, and there's a free version. All right. Anyway, did it add it to? I don't know if it can share the whole. What is this here? Is there like a print to? Ooh, maybe from the file. Okay. If this doesn't work, I'll get back to it, I swear. But I just can't let it go. What are you going to do? Okay, I'm supposed to be able to share to. Of course, there's 50 million. All right, I give up. I'll do it later. Fuck. Every single time. All right. At least it's somewhere. Okay. So that's cool. So I like that. So on the query, you can identify park model or whatever the model is. I actually do like that better because then well, I don't know. To me, it's more intuitive to see the source right next to the query decorator, but just as well here, I suppose. But yeah, I'll probably go with this. Okay, so I like that. I don't remember seeing that yesterday. Can I do this without the sort descriptor? No, you still need the full path. Okay. Oh, if you use this method, you have to do sort descriptor. Okay. I guess you could always just use, if you wanted to use that method, just use sort descriptor, even if it's a single parameter, but might be overkill. All right, so now filtering. A query also has a parameter that allows you to filter data. This filter parameter takes a predicate, object, or macro. A predicate is a logical condition that returns true or false. You will learn how to create these predicates to filter data. All right. What are we looking at? A struct, query filtering. It's a view. Let's see. Query only the data you want using the filter to narrow your results. The filter parameter uses a predicate macro that provides a closure where you set your filter criteria. Okay, cool. So the query, fill that out. Our parameter is filter, then hash predicate, so that's the macro. And then the model itself is a park model. And then here's our closure down to here. Park.country. So here we're filtering for Canada as the country property only. All right. Dang, so all of that is ahead of... This used to be just this little piece of code right here. var parks and the type. That used to be all we had to type. Now we got all this stuff, but no, that's cool. Okay, and then it makes good sense. It makes good sense. It's a lot of syntax, but at least it reads well. Which is like if Swift had a T-shirt, you know, that's what would be on it. The filter parameter predicate macro. Yeah. Okay, so. Okay. Pardon me, ever so kindly. Okay, so note. The predicate closure also accepts shorthand argument names. The predicate closure also accepts shorthand argument names, which is predicate park model. So this $0.0 property, $0 being a way to access the zeroth. It's a word we learned here on this stream. It's a big one. Zeroth. The zeroth position in the index. So if I thought that would give me, oh, there we go. Yes, you know, if we had, wait, that's a bad example. So if you had this array with these three values, doesn't matter that they're all the same. From left to right, but obviously this is top to bottom, but same concept. This would be $0, our first value, since it's a zero indexed array. And this would be, oops, 1, and then so on, 2. But that's what they are referring to. Okay, I mean, that's cool. It's cool, dog. All right. No, I don't think I have any more questions about that one. No further questions, Your Honor. Next. Queries, predicates, and generics. Query, filter, another predicate, our model. Here's the closure, open the closure, the iterator. I don't know what you call that, just a keyword, but this is the at least inside of closures, is what separates the argument from the function body. Okay, so that's the same. Wait, what? It's the same thing we just saw. You may have noticed that the predicate macro allows you to specify the data model type. If you do not specify the model type, it won't know the type being passed into the closure. That makes sense. How else would it know? Specifying the type on the query is also valid. Oh, okay, like we just saw, yeah. The predicate macro can infer the type from the query. So you can reference your model's properties. So much like filtering, but I guess not really the same rules, but easy enough to follow. So, okay. So in some cases, passing the type to the macro enables you to just call the property without calling out the type for the predicate. Because here it's on the query, up here it's on the predicate itself. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Specifying the type on the query is also valid. Can infer. Oh, we read that. Okay. I'd probably just keep it on the query just for continuity's sake. Okay, 3 parts of the predicate. Predicate macro expanded. You see what I mean, though? I mean, this is great. Seriously, I mean, it's hard to find. I don't know if maybe it's because I represent, I don't know what you'd call us, but you know, people that got into coding later in life. Because I feel like the folks that always say, you know, oh, I've been doing it, you know, since I learned how to type, you know, which is that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that if you're that type, but I was not that type. I always felt like I could, but you know, I just didn't get around to doing it till later, till there was a necessity for it, and then I loved it. But you know what? Actually, you know what I really think it is. What I honestly think it is people like me that come into it from a different avenue. Like we get there in a roundabout way. It wasn't always our focus. I think the benefit that the people have that start very young is when you're in and around it all the time. And you'll understand this in any kind of domain in your life, but if you're just entrenched in something, it's all around you, you talk about it, like you're doing the thing, you practice the thing, you want to get better at it, so there's internal motivators powering you. You know, you just tend to be around that kind of content all the time, which being immersed in something does not guarantee understanding, nor does it guarantee even, you know, memorization, but it can help, certainly, right? So not trying to argue the opposite. I'm just saying that I think the people that grew up in it, the way that technical documentation is written and presented to you is often from people just like that were also into it at a very young age. And so there's a lot of language and terminology that gets used that wouldn't really make sense to a person who's, you know, intellectual enough, smart enough to follow along, but they just don't have that foundational, I'll just call it comp sci knowledge, right? A lot of the stuff that is common to just computers in general, if you don't know, or if you haven't been in and around it for a long time, stuff that pertains to just computers and networks, domains, servers, you know, disk, memory, none of that has anything to do with the, like, learning how a language behaves based off like the syntax, which is what we're looking at here. But it gets interwoven into, yeah, brother, woo, no, but it gets intermingled, commingled, blended in with so much of what we learn. And if you don't have that basis of knowledge, I think, at least for me, I mean, I had to go read a book. I don't have it with me, but it's called The Secret Life of Programming. Or no, sorry. The Secret Life of Programs. If what I'm saying makes any sense at all to you and it's not Chinese, and you want to get caught up on all that comp sci stuff, I really think it would help you. It helped me a great deal. I think I paid $50 for the paperback version. You can probably get it cheaper just on Kindle or something like that. Or whatever book source you want to use. But yeah, The Secret Life of Programs. Great book, and it covered all of that kind of underlying stuff that you will encounter if you want to dig into the space a little bit more. So yeah, highly recommend that book. It was a great read. Really bolster your understanding of just computers and programs at large. Okay, anyway. How did I get on that topic? Oh yeah, the fact that they describe it and teach it like this. I feel like this person or these people, Big Mountain Studio, they get that part. And so this is great. This is why I love that. Anyway. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking 2 steps down the road. Okay, predicate macro expanded. So number 1, if you expand the predicate macro, you will notice it divides your filter condition into 3 parts. 1 is a key path to your property, 2, a comparison operator, and 3, the value to compare. If you expand the predicate macro, let's just go look at that. Go look at that right fast and see it for ourselves. Just to say that we did it. Predicates. Predicate. All right, so friend model. Okay, option key, yeah. Click. And that's just the signature. That's not what I want. Control, click. There we go. Expand macro. It's a nice little feature Xcode gives us to show us the actual code of the macro, what it does. So foundation.predicate. So this is a foundation module. Predicate expressions, build equal. See, this is what I'm talking about. And again, not necessarily a bad thing, but like this code, or this macro rather, this is nothing but like other functions and other protocols and other, you know what I mean? So I mean, to get at least at this level, which it makes sense because this is a SwiftUI provided thing, but to get to the root of things, it would just be a bitch to debug. That's all I'm saying. You'd have to, what you're using is, you know, like 19 branches deep worth of stuff. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, thankfully, folks much smarter than me are doing that. But yeah, okay. So then we see what they're talking about now. The key path, a comparison operator, the value to compare. The auto-generated code won't always look the same and will change depending on the 3 values you provide, but all 3 parts will be there in some form or another. This also means some filter conditions you write can't be parsed by the predicate macro. Okay. So number 1, the key path to your property, which is right here. Oh, right. Sorry. I was thinking this is the base macro itself. Okay. Okay. So key path here. And then what is 2? A comparison operator, predicate expressions dot build equal. I don't know what LHS is. Build key path. Root. Okay, and 3, the value to compare, which is Canada. So predicate expressions, huh? Is that right? Where did I see that? Predicate. Wait, where is this? Oh, right. So I keep forgetting. Okay, this is part of the framework, so I'm not going to see this. But where is the... Or no, this would be the code that it generates? Expand again. Let me see. Okay, here it is. Yeah, my fault. All right, so this is what would be generated. Is that what it's saying? I'm not sure. Let's ask. In Xcode Swift, if I expand a macro, what am I being shown? Okay, so that is what it's showing you. And it will, okay, so that's why there's certain, I was wondering why some of these had values, but so it'll show you if you expand it, if you're working with values, it'll use whatever you're passing around. Okay, but predicate expressions itself, we would not necessarily have to call, so then I won't mess with that then. I do like to dig into stuff, but given that SwiftUI isn't, I mean, we can't see the underlying implementation, so I don't see that as super valuable. This also means, okay, we read that. Let's see. Country. Oh, they're matching it up. So key path to the thing, in this case, the property country. The comparison operator, which in this case is the equality operator, and then the value that we're comparing it to, Canada. Okay. Predicate expressions. Apple has defined what your choices are. Oh, here they are. This is what I was trying to find. Apple has defined what your choices are for valid expressions when trying to filter your data. Urinary minus. Range. Cool. That's very cool. I'm going to use the hell out of that, brother. Actually, I'm going to save this too. I wonder if... Yeah, let me turn that on real quick. Forgot you can... set this to do that. That would be handy. Okay, and then preferences. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. General. Launch at login. No. Show webcam. Highlight clicks. New. Okay, it's on. All right, cool. Okay. All right, so that's there. Compare. Oh, Jesus, my neck. Comparison. Less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, equal, and not equal. Ternary conditional expressions. Good old Boolean logic. Optionals. If let. Got our bindings in there. Cool. Types as is sequence. We worked with the contains. It'd be cool to see some of these other ones. I don't remember these other ones. Although we can kind of guess. I guess those are the generics. Oh no, we did cover that. That was early on though. Subscript, string comparisons. Oh, nice. String comparisons, yeah. Contains, insensitive. Localize. What does that mean? What is that language based? What is meant when certain ones that do not, i.e. Oops. Okay, locale or region, taking into account language-specific rules. Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, I always wondered. Hopefully, I don't have to deal with that too much, because I mean, if it's anything like accessibility, like with web stuff, built a few web apps. And that's a pain in the ass, man. That's really some ho shit. But yeah, anyway, hopefully the tools in Swift are better equipped for that type of stuff. But I don't know. Predicate examples. For these examples, I decided to use shorthand argument names, which is that thing we looked at briefly, the zero index, to save space. Okay. Oh, instead of the person model or whatever. What was it? Park model. Yeah, so in this case, then if anybody downloaded the project and is following along, park model is equal to that. At least for this slide. That could change, never know. All right, so country, Canada, that's the example. Find matches where country is Canada. Oh yeah, sure. Note, this is case sensitive. Okay, that's good to know. So by default, it's strings are case sensitive. That's good. It's real nice. All right, this will return all countries except Canada. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this makes sense now, but I've always, like I said, I came from SQL, so like I always just imagined what it'd be like to have that style in a general purpose language. It would be so cool, I think. Maybe not for y'all, but for me. But like, yeah, like this contains Canada. You know, you do. So what are we selecting here? It'd be country. So select country from. In this case, it'd be where country like and It's like this would be the SQL equivalent of this one here. You can't really see it. For, yeah, this one. So these are the keywords, obviously select from and where, but it's just so simple. Like select, and then you name the fields. You can give them aliases, you can rename them, do whatever. And then from, and then, you know, the data table or the object, and then where, and then the condition, country, like, and the percentage signs. It's basically how you say contains. And that's sick though. I mean, I don't know. I love SQL. I mean, the interesting part about SQL though, I think, is it's one of those things where it's really easy to learn, but it's an iceberg, if you've ever heard of that analogy. But yeah, like if you've ever watched any of, well, basically any video. But yeah, you can kind of see the whole idea is that, you know, what you initially see when you hear about any concept, not just programming necessarily, but, you know, what you're exposed to is the top level that's able to be seen above water. And then beneath it, however large it may be, kind of represents the hidden nuance and however deep the discipline may go, or the complexity, or you know, all of the above. But that's the general idea, and SQL has a lot of that kind of aspect to it. But the thing with SQL is, because you're going to have to learn optimizations, you have to learn how to monitor your servers, because oftentimes, hopefully not, but most people don't have the luxury of, you know, running their SQL servers on a server with literally nothing else. You know, a lot of them are running multiple things, including the SQL server. Say what you want, but it happens all the time, you know? So you got to be able to break out when there's performance issues. SQL can get pretty, let me show you an example of well, that's not a good of a set. Is that good enough? I wonder if this will give me images. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So look at this. So something like this, you will run into a lot. It's like, and this is just a snippet of it. But you have a lot of very simple actions that you can stack, and when you make a stored procedure, you're effectively pre-compiling the action instead of running it ad hoc. So it can be run faster, but still it can get pretty widely. So I mean, I think that unto itself, because notice there's no brackets. There's parentheses, but there's no scoping with for the most part, depending on the dialect. But yeah, for the most part, you don't have that. And but it's not white space indented either. Sometimes you have to separate with semicolon, but I think that aspect of it can be difficult at times depending on what you're working with. But good tools can bridge the gap, and SQL's been around so long, there's a lot of good tools. A lot of good tools. My recommendation, if you can afford it, I know I'm getting off topic here, but Navicat, last I checked, I mean, I quit using it because I felt like I got what I needed out of it. But if you're just learning and there's a lot on your plate, this program can be a great fucking, like, it taught me things that I would have never have known, and really helped my career advance, because not only was I able to understand more about our own product, you know, just forgotten knowledge basically, because it lets you dig into the schema, visualize it, create diagrams, see all the information that's affecting your tables, whether, you know, the developer is aware or not, you know, so you can really explain a lot by just looking through it. And then not only that, it does a lot of SQL generation for you. So it has a lot of tools to really help. So Navicat, if you have never heard of it, check it out. I think they're even on the App Store now. They have mobile versions for Postgres, but it can talk to any of the SQLite, Microsoft SQL Server, But yeah, that's a great one. Another great one, if you need a good editor, SQL editor, Table Plus is really good. And this one's going to be cheaper, and you can still get a lot of great benefits out of it. So, unless you really need Navicat, you might check this one first, because more than likely this one's going to be the more affordable option. Just be careful, because I screwed this up the first time, and it's not their fault, but it's really fucking Apple's fault, because they're giving everybody a haircut with their 30%. But anyway, if you buy this, get it from the website. Go to their pricing, because they have different packages where you can have because it's on desktop and it's on iOS, iPad, all that. If you buy it from here, they give you offers that are better than on the App Store, I'm sure for a very specific reason, but that's to your benefit. So check it out here, because here you can they have bundles where you can get 2 desktop licenses, so the ability to run it on 2 different desktop devices, and also 2 licenses for your iOS devices. If you get it on iOS only, you might just be buying an iOS subscription for the same price of what you could have got for the other bundle. You know what I mean? So just be careful with that. But yeah, those are 2 great editors that I think can help bridge the gap. But yeah, aside from that, SQL it's really more, I'll say the thing with SQL is almost always there's more at stake, right? So it may not be as deep and complicated. You're not dealing with as many things, but you're still dealing with the network. You're still dealing with security. You're still dealing with the disk, and you're dealing with performance, and you're dealing with, live data eventually. So, a lot of things in SQL, there's no undo button. And sometimes backups can be costly. Everything costs. And when you're talking about people's effectively livelihoods inside that database, brother, you better be careful. You better know what the fuck you're doing. You understand? And to me, that's really the scary part about SQL, and people should be scared. There's a healthy amount of fear and reverence you should have for doing a good job. I always hated these little fucks that would come in and, oh yeah, I can do it. And they go and make a fucking shit show of the database. Don't be that guy. I just think that's just so much weak sauce. Like, you're dealing with somebody's data, brother. Give a fuck. Care about something. Give a shit. Do a good job. God damn. Anyway, I digress. Where were we? I just want to talk about SQL for a little bit. Okay, country starts with Canada. Match string values that start with a specific string. Okay. I found is empty will also work. This will return all models where country is an empty string. Oh, okay. And then this is partial matches. Does not equal. Oh, that's weird. Greater than an empty string. You can also use greater than to find all countries that do have text, or even test if is empty is false. I see. Okay. What is this? Name. Localized standard contains. Oh, wait, what does that do? Like contains, but this function will ignore case and accent symbols. You son of a gun. I'm not sure if I save this, I'm gonna do it again, because that's actually, wait. I don't want that. I need to. Yeah, I like that a lot. Part of my job was to work with, when we would get new customers in, we were selling an ERP, so it was a full-blown implementation. So we're moving them from Dynamics or NetSuite or SAP Business One or QuickBooks even. They're giving you all the data. You now have to take that data, push it into the schema for the new product. Well, obviously the two schemas are not going to match, and so it always just became this giant shit show, like, because you have the data as it is now, right? And no matter what, I mean, I don't care who you are, where you are, how good your tools are, whatever. People are always going to use some kind of, they just can't help themselves, and I don't know why. But I do it too. But it's never just all there. It's always like, I understand a number might be in that pricing field. However, because we're geniuses, that's not actually the price. What we do is, and then they go into this, we export it, and then in this Excel thing, and then we manually generate the PDF, send it to the customer. All kinds of fuckery. But at the end of the day, you realize this stuff is born from, like, sometimes it is just people, monkey see, monkey do. They came in, they learned how it was done. They didn't ask questions. Fine. But when people develop these systems, no matter how fucked up you as the consultant may think it is, the best thing you can do, at least what I learned, is just try to understand why they're doing it, and not try to point out all the, all the Karen bullshit, or our best practices, or whatever. I mean, people understand that to some extent, but at the end of the day, jobs got to get done. But yeah, so I would take their data and just have to import it and just go all this back and forth. This data needs to go here, and now they have fields that aren't even in the new system. What a shit show. But yeah, SQL is great because if you can manage it, there's so much you can do on the database side, and you can really just make yourself look like look really indispensable and a guy that should make a lot of money. So yeah, living the SQL life is always a good choice. And actually, while I'm on, let me show you this book real quick. This is the book that got me started, and I think it's great, and I think it's in the same spirit as the book we're reading now, so I would say check it out still, because I know they still sell it. I just saw it the other day. I think it was called SQL or Mere Mortals. SQL query. Yeah, this thing. That one right there is SQL Queries for Mere Mortals. Great fucking book. Great fucking book. Highly recommend. You change your life, brother. Okay, so let's go back. All right. Okay, what else can we do? A couple of ways to get parks with a rating between 1 and 5. Less than 6. Ooh, I like that too. 1 through 5 range. Hell yeah. You can also use ternary operator. Find parks in Italy where the park name is not empty. So .country is equal to Italy. It's equal to Italy. Oh, and is not is empty is false. Oh no, that's the force unwrap. Is empty is false. Okay, I got there. Always have trouble reading those. All right, so now multiple filters. Struct query multiple filters. Let's see, view. Okay, we saw this, but now what are we looking at? Use and or. Wait, this is the logical and logical or to include multiple filters. double ampersand means and, which means that both sides of it need to be true. And two, what do you call those? Bars? Bars. What is this character called? Oh, pipe. Duh, I knew that. Or did I? Okay, so double bar. Double pipe. That means that one side or the other needs to be true. Yeah. Use parentheses to group. Yeah. I vaguely know the difference, but I want to hear it from Gemini, so I'm going to ask. Which you will see what I'm going to ask. What? In SwiftUI, what is the difference in case of logical or and? Okay, so the logical or combine two or more Boolean expressions. Oh, okay. The overall result is true if at least one of the expressions is true. Okay, so that's all right. So that's for working with Booleans. Conditional kind of is like a traffic control. It's a concise way to write an if-else statement in a single line. Okay, that's a way better description than mine. Ooh, but this I can finally share. Yeah, here we go. Oh, why isn't it showing? There it is. Fuck is happening? Still some things to work out apparently, but nonetheless, let's get it's better. So capture hold option. Option S. Oh, that's pretty cool. Little sound effect, floating button. Guess we'll try that. Okay, let's see what it does. So capture is hold, but I already have. Ooh, one click saving. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's what that thing is. I was wondering what the hell that was. And it's showing you. Oh, that is cool, man. All right. I'm a sucker for this stuff, honestly. But no, this is great. But it's okay. So no, I don't. What I want is. Oh, this is what I want. Yeah, okay. There we go. Jeez. Selection menu. I'd only save that though. God damn it. Can it just send the whole? Maybe that's what I want. There's got to be a way to just send the web page. And now I'm back to where I was trying to get it earlier. All right, you know what? Just fucking print it. Can we do that? Oh, you know what is cool though? You can email. Maybe that's the best thing to do. You can also email yourself, which is very helpful, especially for work stuff. Wait, but then you guys would be... Never mind. I just have to give up my dream of doing it right this moment. Yeah, fuck. Oh well. Life goes on someday. Okay, now. That at least makes sense. Actually, let me just save that to Sheets. Since... Good thing I'm subscribed to every fucking service, so I actually have a pro rep. Don't be like me, guys. Seriously, I waste so much money on this stuff. I think Replic's great, but you know, you got to pick one, and I just got too many. Well, I shouldn't say great. It's good. It's a good service, and it looks like they've added more stuff. But honestly, I think if you write web stuff, then you could call it great for sure. But if you're writing, you know, C++, C, Rust, stuff like that, you know, probably not. But for web type stuff, it's basically like CodePen, but better. I just think it does everything better. And it does a lot more than CodePen. Anyway, so now that that's saved somewhere, logical OR. Okay, so we got that. So we know the difference now. To group conditions together. All right. Oh, I see. Yeah, same way in SQL. Okay. So if you wanted this to be treated as a single argument as opposed to two separate, you can enclose these in parentheses. And then also combined it with, yeah, okay, brother, shit. So then, no, that makes sense. I don't have any questions. No further questions, Your Honor. All right, let's see. Pre-filtering. Let's play the video, see what's happening. Oh, cool. Okay, tab versions of your filters. I like that a lot, yeah. Okay, then if you want to limit the data fetched, you can create predefined. Oh, so... So by okay, either way you're fetching. So here, when we filter, we're still... grabbing everything in the model itself, which could get expensive over time as our data set grows. Therefore, we could lean on pre-filtering, which makes sense. Okay. If you want to limit the data fetch, you can create predefined filtered queries and switch between them as needed. All right. What? This way you're not getting more data than needed and then filtering it after. But what's different here? Filter, predicate. Predicate. I don't get why that's pre-filtering though. It's just explain it. No. So this is in the view, as is this. Or I mean in the query itself, inside the closure, park in. And where is this? This is in. Huh. And switch between them. Oh, I guess okay. Maybe he just means. I mean, both of these are hard coded, so it's not like. Or maybe I'm not just thinking creatively enough here, but maybe he means if you're taking user input. But these are already defined, so I mean if you. And they're both pulling from park. I'll take his word though. I guess in this case though, if you were to call. I don't know. I really don't understand that. I guess I'll just ask Gemini, but either way, I mean, to me, you're gonna have to scan the whole model in both cases. So you didn't really pre-filter. You just distributed the work differently. Split them out, not into a single filter. I mean, that part is obvious. One filter here, two filters here, but yeah, I don't see how that's pre-filtering. So let's go ask. Hopefully. Did I? I think I did. So. Is that what it's called? Tau? Oops. Oh, whoops. Backticks, right? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So this num code in terms of how are we entire object in both cases. Each property wrapper includes a filter, yeah. Okay, the data source is queried twice, one for each property wrapper. These initial queries use the predicates to pre-filter the data on the server side. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't realize they meant like in a server situation. Okay. Well, that part makes sense then if we're not holding onto anything locally, at least for starters. We have to go over the wire for all the data, then yeah, I guess that makes sense. No, you're not querying the entire object in both cases. Here's why. Server-side filtering. The predicates in the @query wrappers are applied on the Firestore server. I guess it just wants to assume I'm using. You know, that's some ho shit. I just realized that. I'm talking to Gemini and Firestore is theirs, so they're nice way to try to get me to use Firestore. That shit is so weird to me. As somebody that, like I said, enjoys SQL and uses SQL, to try and go and use something like Firestore, I'm honestly shocked that people would choose to well, I mean, one, make the choice to do it, and two, pay extra for it. Like it's just some fuckery to me. I don't know, but I know a lot of people like it, so it is what it is. This means Firestore itself. But yeah, I like how it's like, you know, when you query your Firestore or, you know, whatever other data source you might want to use. Nice going. Anwar, or what's the CEO's name? Benefits of pre-filtering. Minimize network traffic. So, yeah, okay. The filtering happens on the server side, thanks to the predicates. Okay. So they're saying on the server side, meaning we don't pull all the data and then filter it on device, which, I mean, that makes sense. Initial queries are executed initially to fetch. Oh, okay, so weird. All right, so they're saying here the filtering on the server side are separate actions from the initial queries to fetch the pre-filtered data. Switching between countries uses the existing data in memory. That part I get. I mean, that's fine, but Wait, on the server side, what kind of application are you describing here? This only apply to apps that have to get their data over HTTP. Even when working with local SQLite, you'd still use queries to fetch only data you need, applying filtering conditions to optimize performance. Efficient and responsive. But how is the pre-filtering that is defined inside my application code able to affect things server side pre-fetch? That's the part I don't understand. What do they It's a fucking ad for Firestore. I'm not talking about Firestore. You know, I switched to Gemini because they were running this special for Google One. So you got, for 20 bucks a month, you get 6 terabytes of G drive, which I was pissed at Dropbox for. They were also doing some fuckery. I was with them forever, but they pissed me off, so I'm not going back. Even though I would say objectively, after trying them all now, iCloud, OneDrive, or rather maining them all for at least a year, I would say easily, like just in terms of storage and ubiquity and quality of the product across all platforms, so like iOS, the web, Windows, you know, Dropbox, yeah, I think it's the best. But I don't know. Anyway, my point was that ChatGPT does a much better job being helpful without turning shit into an ad, despite whatever you may think about OpenAI. If you're just talking straight up paying customer, I just need something to be a fucking LLM, do your job, it's still better. Please explain again without using Firebase as the example. Instead, use okay, here we go. And I know I'm being a little nitpicky. It's still great that they help you out. I got it. I'm just saying. Normally, like if you go hang out with your friends, you don't show up and be like, hey guys, you want to go have a beer and not punch each other in the face? You know, like we don't make the assumption that some really inconvenient shit is going to come along with some normal shit that we're doing, like just asking a question. But in this case, we're getting some extra shit. That's all I'm saying. Okay, imagine you have a mobile app that stores a list of books in a local SQLite database on the device. Each book has properties like title, author, and genre. Okay, got it. List of books. Okay, so these are our comparables. Okay. In your app's code, you define a SQL query. Select all from books where genre equal fiction. Yep, makes sense. Your app executes this query using the SQLite library included with iOS. The SQLite engine processes the query directly within the database file on the device. SQLite evaluates the where clause, filters the data. Only the rows, books that match the specified genre are selected. SQLite returns. Display your app. Displays filter list. I mean, yeah. If that's okay, I see. The definition they're using is pre-filtering is it's not all happening in memory. Okay. Well, I mean, I pre-filter all the time then. Okay, no, well, that's fine. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm gonna move on from that. Ah, and that's the end. Okay. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap it there. I'm gonna sit here and think more about that. See what some other folks think. And yeah, I hate when something doesn't just sink in. I mean, I want it to make sense. I want it to make good sense, but no one's perfect. Maybe I'm just not getting it, but also maybe, and we come across this, or we've come across it even on this stream, covering Big Nerd Ranch. Sometimes the way that, like zero index is a good example. Why do they start at 0? When every other domain we start at 1. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Oh, someone's knocking at my door, I think. I'm supposed to get a lot of packages today. Anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it there. So I'd like to thank you for